Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is November 14, 2023, and we are getting into the volume 178 of me answering your immigration related questions. As always, before beginning this video, I'm going to mention, as I mentioned in every video on this channel, I am not an immigration attorney. This is not legal advice. All the information provided in these videos on this channel are directly from official government sources like USCIS and of course the Department of State with their visa bulletin. So let's start with the very first question from Gufran. Sir, can you please tell me why there is no change in December visa bulletin final action dates and when I will see a big changes in F4 final action dates? Gufran, thank you very much for your question. It's a difficult question to answer. We've been speculating for a while that, the accumulated backlog that we're seeing right now on the visa bulletin, when I say accumulated backlog, I mean really no movement or retrogression. That's really it. Because when you see retrogression or no movement, it means backlog is accumulating. That's really all it is. It means there is more applications, there's more approved petitions that are waiting to be documentarily qualified. If we're talking about Graph B, if we're talking about Graph A, there's more approved petitions than U.S. embassies. They can, basically, get into the interviews and schedule the interviews and get them through and issue those immigrant visas that people are waiting. And that's why you see some people waiting for a year and a half after their priority date becomes current, which is, it's crazy because most of the 4 family preference categories, they're already waiting for so long. And now you're already, that's it. You're documentarily qualified. Your immigrant visa is supposed to be available because your priority date is current, and people are still waiting for a year and a half. It's ridiculous. But at the end of the day, everything comes down to if you want one simple sentence answer, it comes down to the decision that Congress made with the visa cap. That's really it. And it is 226,000 for a fiscal year. That's it. 226,000, which is obviously not enough at all, not even close. Because if it was, we wouldn't have a backlog. If you have enough available immigrant visas, I honestly, personally, if you ask me, I honestly don't understand why we have a visa cap on family reunification cases at all. Because we, compared to any kind of other immigration that is not through family reunification, the numbers are way higher. So this 226,000 a year is, it's honestly ridiculous. And the worst part is that it applies to people who are doing it through family, which means that their family member immigrated to the United States and went through the whole process and, paid the fees, did the background checks, did the interviews, did all of these things. And now you are doing it as a relative, and you still have to wait for so long because it's so limited. So it's almost like Congress is, government is literally discouraging people legally immigrating into the United States. That's really what it looks like. I don't know why. It would be up to people who were making these decisions and coming up with that, but that's really the problem. That's why there is a backlog, because there is not enough immigrant visas a year compared to the amount of applications per year. And all of the extra applications, they are getting added to the backlog. And of course, during the pandemic, we had, a huge accumulation of the backlog because all the U.S. embassies were closed and nothing was processed. So yeah, Gufran, to add to my answer, I actually am myself looking specifically at F4 because I do have the petition for my brother, and yeah, so I keep checking the visa bulletin. That's really all we can do at the moment, is just check it every single month on this channel. Once the new visa bulletin comes up, I make a video on it and compare it to the previous visa bulletin editions. So if you're not subscribed to this channel yet, please consider, and yeah, and hopefully we will see some movement. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Kane. Hello, if you received your corrected green card, should you send the incorrect one? Great question, Kane. No, you don't. There is no requirement. In fact, there was a requirement, I believe, for employment authorization document, if I'm not mistaken. If you did receive an incorrect one, you send it back, and it's kind of like it's in the instructions. Last time I checked, at least, that you do need to send the old one back, the incorrect one. I would assume it's the same for a green card, but if you did receive the correct green card already, then you don't have to worry about sending the old one back. You can either keep it as a trophy. I had for a long time. I did have. I'm an immigrant myself. I went through the process, and whenever it comes to being an immigrant from, especially if you're from Middle East, your name is very complicated. For people here. So you have a mistake in every single at least I had a mistake in pretty much every single doc. So I had all this. I had a social security, I had a driver license, I had a lot of these documents just in one sitting in this box with the mistakes in them. So, and I had an employment authorization there too. So yeah, it's normal, mistakes happen, but no, you don't need to send it back, the incorrect one. So you can just cut it up, throw it out, or you can be like myself and keep it. Although I think I did get rid of all of them. Okay, let's move on to the next one. No name, unfortunately. YouTube, instead of the names, they are now showing me handles, so sometimes the name doesn't come up. So it's just a user. So user says, "Hi, hope all is well. Sir, would you help us? Our I-130 case submitted on July 29, 2014. Wow, so it's 9 years already. Still status same. So please tell us how much time remaining for us. Thanks." Okay. Oh wow, it's been waiting for a very long time. So let's see visa bulletin if it's still the same. Man, I really do need to know what the family preference category is. So please come back and let me know. Don't respond to my comment. I'm gonna post. Need more information here. Need more info, please. And don't respond to my comment within your comment. Please submit it as a separate comment on any video. You can respond to this video or any other video. And let me know. I need 3 things in order to look at the visa bulletin, in order to look at, whether it's whatever. If we are talking about family immigration, 3 things for me to make the more or less prediction. It's the family preference category, priority date, which you did provide, and then the chargeability area, because chargeability area can play a huge role in determining how long you will be waiting approximately. For example, if you compare F4 siblings of U.S. citizens, all right, brothers, sisters of U.S. citizens, for all chargeability for the rest of the world, for everyone, it's April 2007, which as of right now is about 16 years, right? Compared to Philippines, which there is another 5 years on top of it, because it is showing the priority date as of right now, August 2002, compared to April 2007 for all chargeability. So that's another 5 years, which means it's not 16 years, it's 21 years people waiting from Philippines. So you see how chargeability area is really important. So please let me know these 3 things and I will address it in the next video and answer your question. Okay, moving further to Nagham Hana. Hello sir, my priority date is August 2015. Documentarily qualified in December 2021. Awesome. Okay, so it's been a while now, almost 2 years. F1 category, when we'll expect the interview? Thanks. Okay, let's take a look at the visa bulletin. So I don't know the chargeability area, so I will look at all chargeability area. Let's take a look. So F1 right now is showing January 2015, and you are in August 2015. Okay, so you are, let's see, January month number 1, August number 8. You're about 7-8 months from your priority date becoming current. That's good news for sure. Not so good news is that there is still administrative processing involved after your priority date becomes current. Usually US embassies, they start scheduling the interview after the priority date becomes current. So depending on how busy they are, depending on where you are in the world, which country, it might take some time. So typically people wait about 6 months after the immigrant visa becomes available, but in some cases it can take up to a year. I've seen some people waiting as long as a year and a half in busier, where there's more immigration countries. But you are about 7-8 months from becoming current, and yeah, so you're almost there. So hopefully it's not gonna take too long for you. So you're moving along pretty good. Honestly, I would say at this point, since you're documentarily qualified and that's it, you're just waiting for the priority date to become current, I would start really getting ready for the interview, putting together all the documents that were submitted, because it was a while. I mean, it was like 2 years ago. During documentary qualification process, any updates that happen after documentary qualification process, you want to prepare in a separate envelope. I do have a few videos on this channel about the I-130 interview, so I would recommend going through them and just preparing as much as possible, preparing for medical exam, so that once your interview is scheduled, you can do all of that really quick, get over the medical exam, and then go prepared for an interview. But in your case, it's going to be super easy questions because you are, I can't tell, son, daughter, child of a, child over 21 of a U.S. citizen. So really, there's not going to be any trick questions like usually there are whenever it comes to, spouse marriages, family reunification cases. So it should be pretty straightforward. But yeah, I would recommend starting to get ready for the interview, because I think it's going to be pretty soon. Might even be by the end of 2024, honestly. Okay, let's move on to the next one. From Ransack. F2B November 2011 priority date. I'm losing hope they cannot predict when an interview appointment will be available. All right, let's take a look, see what's going on for F2B. Oh, wow, you're 2011. So you must be... so you're not in all chargeability. I'm assuming you are in possibly. So you're definitely not all chargeability, China, India, unless you had a major delay in your case, which we're talking about like 4-year delay. It doesn't sound possible. So it looks like you're either in Mexico or Philippine chargeability area. If you're in Philippine chargeability area, right now it's showing October 2011, okay? And you are November 2011. So you're 1 month away from your priority date becoming current, which does not mean you're only going to be waiting a month, because visa bulletin sometimes doesn't move. But on the visa bulletin, whenever I say you're 1 month away, 2 months away, a year away, I mean on the visa bulletin. A lot of times visa bulletin does not move like it did not from November to December. So please keep that in mind. That's why it's rough estimates. But on the visa bulletin, you're just 1 month away if you're in Philippines chargeability area. If you're in the Mexico chargeability area, then there is some more wait time. Still a long time to wait. It's another roughly 9 years. So hopefully you're not in Mexico chargeability area, because you'll be waiting for quite a long time. So let me know. Let me know which chargeability area you're from. But like I said, if you're Philippines, which that's what it sounds like, judging by your priority date, roughly 1 more month before immigrant visa becomes available, which can be more because visa bulletin doesn't move a lot of times. But once it is available, once your priority date is current, then you're just waiting for an interview to be scheduled. And in Philippines, Manila, U.S. Embassy, they are pretty busy. So you might be waiting out possibly another year and a half after your priority date becomes current for the interview. So there is still some time to wait, but you've done most of the waiting. So hopefully it should be sooner than later. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Patience Chimbetete. Hello, sir. I'm a daughter of a U.S. citizen. I became documentarily qualified October 10, 2021. Wow, waiting for a while now. Waiting my interview. Does it take? This is honestly, when I see stuff like this, it really saddens me. A daughter of a U.S. citizen, already documentarily qualified for over 2 years. For over 2 years. Why is the daughter of a U.S. citizen waiting for so long to come and be with her parents, with her father, with her mother? It's ridiculous. But October 2021, documentarily qualified. So you must be in F1. If you're waiting for so long, you must be in F1. I'm gonna ask you, if you can, please let me know what the priority date is, what the chargeability area is. your F1, but please let me know that F1 as well, just so that I don't forget, and I'll take a look. But as F1, if we're looking at all chargeability area, right now the priority date becomes current is January 2015. All right. So that means that if you were documentarily qualified in 2021, and right now people with September 2017, they're opening up, so 2017, 2 years, so roughly 2 years. So they open up about 2.5 years ahead, okay, the NDC portal, roughly, for this particular category. It's always different, don't get me wrong, and it's different for chargeability areas too. But because I don't know, I'm trying to give you like an estimate from what I know. 2.5 years if you were documentarily qualified October 2021, which is the end of 2021. I would think that the end of 2023 is 2 years, another half. So you're probably looking at the mid 2024 for the availability of the immigrant visa, judging by the visa bulletin. And then from then on, obviously, there is waiting for the interview to be scheduled. So add another 6 months, possibly a year, depending on how busy US Embassy is. So probably the end of 2024, possibly the beginning of 2025. But again, if you can, please let me know in a separate comment. 3 things: family preference category, priority date, and the chargeability area. These are the 3 things that I need to give more or less rough estimates. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Harpreet Kaur. Hello, sir. Thanks a lot for all the information. I petitioned for my older sister. My priority date, April 2006. How long I have to wait for the interview? I have not received any letter from embassy, or they haven't asked for any paperwork. Please advise. Okay, Harpreet, thank you for asking your question. So you are looking at the F4 category on the visa bulletin. I don't know your chargeability area. Let's take a look what it looks like on the visa bulletin. So looks like for all chargeability, China is the same, India is waiting a little longer, Mexico is waiting a lot longer, and then Philippines in between India and Mexico. So if you're looking at all chargeability area, April 2006, your visa has been available for a year now. If we are looking at all chargeability area, because your priority date, well, your sister's priority date has been current for a year now, which means that interview has already been scheduled, and possibly you might be waiting for another as long as 6 months, because that depending on where you are, it might be that long. But if we are talking about India, for example, which is showing right now October 2005, it means that there is roughly another 1.5 years before the availability of the immigrant visa. So let me know what the chargeability area is. But if we're looking at the rest of the world, then it's April 2007, which means your case has been current for a year now. If we're talking about China, it's the same thing as all chargeability. If we're talking about India, however, there is another 1.5 years, and then there's Mexico and Philippines, which is a lot longer. Hopefully that's not the case for you. But let me know what your chargeability area is, and we're gonna take a look at it again. So once again, for me to make predictions, rough predictions, family preference category, chargeability area, and the priority date. These are 3 things I need. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Ahmad Yassin. Hello, sir. I'm on asylum pending since 2017. Ahmad, thank you very much for providing the additional information that I request. I really appreciate it. So you've been for about 5 years now. I live in the US and had an interview in 2018. Okay, so you had an interview pretty quick. And since then I heard nothing. In my case, it's about my stateless and refugee from where I came from, the Middle East. But now because of the new guideline for the stateless, do you think I need to send them a proof of identity in order to speed up my case, or I don't have to send them anything, or do you think I have to get attorney? Thank you. Ahmad, so in your situation, I would honestly concentrate more on a different question, not about your stateless status and updating them, but more so why you have not heard anything from 2018, because typically after the interview, you hear back from them within a month, whether you are, whether they approved it or not. Of course, some situations might be different, and after interview, they might be reviewing. There might be something involved while you're waiting. But yes, if you know for sure, if you know for a fact that your case is moving along and no correspondence between USAS and you got lost on the way, and everything is current, all your biometrics are current, everything is good. If you know that for a fact, then yes, absolutely, as regarding to whatever kind of updates that are happening with your status, absolutely keep them updated. It can be a simple cover letter with an added attached copy of the document showing that, corroborating to the fact that there is an update in your case. Very simple. If it's as simple as that, you don't even have to hire an attorney. You can keep them updated yourself. It's no big deal. As long as you know 100% that there was no miscommunication, that your case really after the interview is still taking that long for them to review and make a decision on, which is not always the case, okay? Usually people are waiting for a long time, it's fine, before the interview. And then after the interview, they're either granted or denied, or there is additional evidence or whatever. And then case either, depending on what kind of asylum case it is, it either goes to the immigration court, or if you're granted, that's it, you're granted asylum. But in your situation, what raises some red flags for me is that you already had an interview in 2018, which is 5 years ago. And why is it taking so long for them to make a decision after your interview? So that tells me that there might be some kind of problem where they maybe sent a decision, you didn't get it, or they request additional information and you didn't provide it, and something along the way is something is off. And in that situation, if that's the case, that's what I would dig into. Why you did not hear back from them so long after the interview. If there is a problem along the way, which is possible because how long it's taking, then yes, absolutely 100% I would recommend hiring an immigration attorney. I would, do some shopping around, check the reviews, call several offices, go for several consultations, just find someone who understands the asylum procedure and who can actually, who is comfortable in dealing, because whenever it comes to asylum, it's a little bit of it's almost like a separate branch of USAS that deals with these asylum cases. They do have their own asylum offices. So just simply reaching out to USAS and calling their main customer support line is just not going to cut it, because you have to dig deeper, and you have to reach out to these asylum offices and see what's going on. And in fact, I did see the case where it did take for a long time after the interview and nothing was coming up, and it turned out that the officer that did take the interview, they misplaced the case, and it was just sitting on a shelf for no reason for a very long time until it was found. And when it was found, it was already too late, because a person actually got a status through a marriage and a green card. And it caused a huge problem because there still was a pending asylum case. And now, it's a mess. You don't want to be in a mess like that. So, Ahmad, I definitely recommend figuring out what's going on and why it's taking so long. Okay, so let's move on to the next one from, again, user, sorry, no name, CR1, conditional resident, priority date 7/19/2022, and documentarily qualified 7/24/2023, so just recent. When can I expect an interview for my spouse? U.S. Embassy in Ghana. Okay, so I'm not sure how busy Ghana is. I don't have a lot of questions from people from Ghana, but I do get some. So I would say it's probably busier than usual. But the good news is that you are in immediate relative category, which is fantastic, which means that your immigrant visa is already available. In fact, it has been available as soon as your I-130 was approved with USCIS. But you're documentarily qualified about 4 months ago, a little bit over 4 months ago. Typically for immediate relative categories, it takes about 6 months to get the interview. Personally, in my case, it took 9 months. I had an immediate relative petition. But I've seen people wait as long as a year, sometimes a year and a half, even in immediate relative category, in places where U.S. embassies are busier than usual. What I would recommend doing is, I would say, give it by the end of this year. And if by the end of this year you don't hear from the U.S. Embassy about your interview, call them. I will give you the link for usembassy.gov, and we're gonna find Ghana on the list. Let's see, Ghana. There, I already clicked on this. Let's see where they. In Accra. So there is a U.S. Embassy in Accra. That's where most likely, 99%, that's where you're gonna be going through the interview. This is their phone number. So wait up until mid-January 2024, after the holidays and everything, and give them a call and say, hey, I'm in immediate relative category. I've been documentarily qualified now for over 6 months, which is going to be the case in January, I think, if my math serves me well. No, it doesn't serve me well. It never serves me well, but it's around 6 months, close to 6 months. And say, hey, I was wondering if you can tell me when my interview was scheduled for. Sometimes most of the times they say we can't give you that information. But in 10% of the time, 10% of the cases, they can say, yeah, we can look into the system. Let's look into the system, and then because it's an unofficial announcement. Officially, they cannot announce the interview earlier than 30 days. Rarely 60 days. Most of the times 30 days. But if you're calling, it's not an official announcement, so they can make an exception and look in it and tell you. If they don't be upset. But it's definitely worth a shot, because it really doesn't take away. But I would say beginning of 2024, possibly mid 2024, but I would say probably closer, first quarter of 2024, you're looking at your interview. I would say start getting ready for the interview. Definitely take a look at, what's required for a medical examination, because for a medical examination, you can actually do, and maybe I will actually do a video on this, because it's going to be helpful, because I personally messed up whenever it came to medical examination. You can prepare as much of the vaccine record that you have. I did not have that, so I had to get all of the vaccinations that are required. But if you do have your vaccine record, you show it to the civil surgeon, and all of the vaccines that you already have, they don't have to do them again, which is great, it's great. So start preparing, start getting ready. I think it's going to be soon. Okay, let's move on to the next one from H Digitally. Hello, sir. I attend my FTJ interview. Congratulations, that's awesome. So FTJ, follow to join. So that's the I-730. We're talking about either family members of asylee or a refugee. Last week, and it was all good. Great. Officer asked just simple 6-7 questions. At last, officer said, congratulations, I will issue your visa with smiley face. Nice. Now when I check my case status, it shows issued. Your visa has already printed. So how long does it take to receive passport? H Digitally, congratulations. That's awesome news. That's really fantastic. So whenever it comes to, I don't remember if you were followed to join asylee or a refugee. If you are followed to join refugee, it might take a little bit longer, because there is I don't remember the name of that organization, but it's like an international organization. Because with a refugee, it has to go through these world organizations, because you have to have this a sponsorship program. It's a little bit different, so it might take a little bit more time before you get that boarding foil. I don't remember what exactly it's called, but basically it's the document that you get from the U.S. Embassy. You get the set of documents from the Department of State, and then you get that boarding foil, I think that's what it's called, that gives you the time frame in which you have to leave the country for the United States. Really, that's all it is. But with the asylees, it's a little bit more simple, and it might be like a week or 2 weeks before your visa, because that's what they have to do. When they take your passport in the U.S. Embassy, all they really have to do, if your application was approved, which it was, is to stick that visa into the passport. and make it look professional. That's really what they're doing at the U.S. Embassy. So this process can take like a week, possibly 2 weeks. So if you are followed to join Asylum, then that's what you're looking at, probably like a week or 2 weeks, which in your case, it's been, how long has it been now? Last week. Okay, so last week, so we are in the beginning of this week. So I would say either by the end of this week, maybe sometime next week, if it's Asylum, because whenever it comes to asylum cases, you don't have to, because you don't go through a third-party organization, or whatever organization it is, they just tell you to make your own travel plans. That's really it. You don't have a time frame to leave. Obviously, the sooner the better, but that's really straightforward. So once you do get it, please come back to this channel, and I'm sure a lot of people would be interested to hear that, but congratulations. That's really awesome news. We're always awesome to read the good news from everyone who watches these videos. So let's end it on good news today. And if you do have good news in your immigration case, I definitely encourage you, please share them on this channel, because it's good to read questions, hear questions, and hopefully my answers are helpful. But it is really, really helpful. I know for me personally, and I know for a lot of people, whenever you're going through your immigration process and whenever it seems like it's a dead end and nothing is happening and you're just waiting, whenever you read from other people that have been in similar case, going through similar situations, and they already got it, it's very refreshing. And you look at it and you're like, okay, well, people are going through it, so I'll just be patient and hopefully it all works out. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. God bless, and I'll see you all in the next video.